The USA prices for LG's 2021 OLED TVs have leaked, and these prices are so competitive that you might want to hold off buying last year's models. Because for not much more than the current street price of the CX or GX, you can actually buy a shiny new C1 or G1 at the same screen size. Let's check out these prices. Hello everyone, Vincent Teo from HDTV Test here. Over the weekend, a printed price list of LG's 2021 televisions that came from a consumer electronics retailer in the USA was leaked, and it looked legit to me. So I've honed in on the prices of LG's 2021 OLED TVs and compiled these figures into an easy to understand table format. Let's start with the LG C1, which has the Alpha 9 Gen 4 processor. And if we compare the launch prices of the LG C1 against the launch prices of last year's LG CX or C10 OLED, you can see that the 48-inch LG C1 will start with a manufacturer suggested retail price or MSRP of $1,400. The 55-incher will start at $1,600. The 65-incher will start at $2,300. The 77-incher will start at a very aggressive $3,500, and the biggest 83-inch model will start at $6,000. And I think the key models for us to look at are the larger models, namely the 77-inch version and also the 83-inch version. Obviously, last year the LG CX or C10 OLED only went up to 77-inch in terms of the maximum screen size, but at that time the launch price was $5,000. Now the LG C1's launch price is going to be $3,500 if this price list can be believed. This represents a 30% drop, and it is just really quite staggering and quite unbelievable because currently even a 77-inch LG CX or C10 OLED that you can probably buy on the street is probably not much less than the launch price of the LG C1, so it certainly makes it quite appealing. Also, if you pay attention to the 83-inch version, which is $6,000, again, this will probably undercut the 83-inch Sony A90J by about $2,000. Now, obviously, the Sony A90J will have a heatsink and also the brighter OLED panel that allows the TV to get higher peak brightness. Next, let us check out the launch prices of the LG G1 versus those of last year's LG GX or G10 OLED. So the 55-inch model of the LG G1 will start at a launch price of $2,000. The 65-inch model will carry a starting retail price of $2,800, whereas the largest 77-inch model will start at only $4,300, which is really very competitive if you consider that last year's launch price of the 77-inch LG GX or G10 OLED is $6,000. So this represents almost a 30% drop in the starting launch price for the LG G1, which also has the added benefit of a brighter OLED Evo panel compared with last year's GX or G10 OLED. So I think those of you who have been expecting really expensive prices for the OLED Evo panel will be pleasantly surprised by these prices if they are indeed accurate, of course. And this brings me to the point of comparing these prices against the leaked UK prices that I have actually covered in a previous video maybe 1 week ago. And if you look at this chart here, you can see that particularly on the larger models, the 77-inch C1 will cost $3,500 in the USA, but £4,500 in the UK. The 77-inch G1 will cost $4,300 in the States and £5,500 in the UK, and the largest 83-inch C1 will retail at $6,000 in the USA, but more expensive at £7,000 in the UK. And obviously, these US prices are excluding tax, and I'm not entirely sure what state you are in and how many percentage of tax you need to add on top of these prices. But still, looking at this table, it makes me feel as if the US dollar currency is actually more valuable than the UK Great British Pound currency. And I think, it just justifies the term rip off Britain. But these prices from the USA, if they are to be believed, are so aggressive. They are probably more aggressive than Max Verstappen on corners. And I think it will be good news for some of you who can't decide whether to wait for brand new 2021 models or to just buy a cut price 2020 model. I think, with not much of a price difference between a cut price 2020 model and the new 2021 model, then maybe it is probably worthwhile just trying to fork out a bit more for the newer model, because they will have better processing, they will receive better firmware updates into the future, and also in terms of the LG G1 with the OLED Evo panel, you will get an actual hardware upgrade in terms of the OLED panel that is equipped with LG displays, to advancements that allows it to achieve higher peak brightness not only on a 10% window but also full screen. And the two advancements in question are going to be the new green emitting layer and also the substitution of hydrogen compound in the OLED material with deuterium. And I think, this certainly shows a cat among the pigeons, not only in terms of LG's new models versus old models, but also how LG is being so aggressive to undercut the competition, mainly Sony. And of course, we have been talking about Sony's new prices for their A90J OLED and their A80J OLED, and we think that those prices are actually quite competitive considering they come from Sony. But now that LG has sort of shown their hand, not officially, of course, these prices are leaked, but still, they just show that maybe LG Display is really ramping up production at their Guangzhou and also their Paju factory to allow these panel prices to come down so much that LG and Sony can still afford to sell these TVs at lower prices than last year's models. But let us check out an overview of the 2021 televisions from LG, including the A1. So I have compiled these prices here, and in my opinion, the LG A1 is not really that cheap compared with the C1. And with the A1, you only get a 60Hz refresh rate and you don't get HDMI 2.1 support. You only get an Alpha 7 Gen 4 processor as well. So for these reasons, I would always advise people to go the next step up to the LG C1, but maybe if your budget is stretched, you might want to consider the A1. And notably in the USA, there is not going to be the B1 series released, because I think the price gap is so small that, if they started selling the B1, then people will just either go for the cheapest A1 or go for the C1, which is probably the best all-rounder if you don't really want to stretch all the way to the top tier or flagship G1 series with the OLED Evo panel. So if you look at this price table that I've made here, I think my personal highlights would have to be the larger screen sizes, especially the 77-inch LG G1 OLED with Evo panel that starts at only $4,300 US, and also the biggest 83-inch LG C1 OLED with a starting retail price of $6,000 US. Let me know what you think about these leaked prices of LG's 2021 OLED TVs in the YouTube comment section below. Do you think these prices are real? Do you think they are even possible? And if they are indeed realized, which prices and which models will appeal to you? If you would like to watch more videos on LG's 2021 OLED TVs, I've created a playlist here if you would like to click on it, and I will see you in the next video.